Hello, my dear students of class 10. Hope you all are doing well. Let us start with absorption by roots remaining portion. Today we will start our chapter with some simple experiments. In the picture you can see we are showing you experiment on diffusion. We know diffusion is the free movement of molecules from their region of higher concentration to their region of lower concentration when the region are in direct contact. Here you can see in the picture a glass holding a solvent water and a soluble dye is poured at one corner of the water. Now we see the soluble dye is easily getting diffused throughout the water. The water is not getting stirred, or we are not even disturbing the water or the setup, but the soluble dye is easily getting diffused from their region of higher concentration to their region of lower concentration. So this is proving diffusion, a very simple way to prove diffusion. And you can see the soluble dye and the water in the glass are in direct contact. Now we come to the next experiment, osmosis. Here you can see we have taken one beaker filled with water. We have taken thistle funnel filled with sugar solution, and at the mouth of the thistle funnel we have cellophane paper. A cellophane paper is a semi-permeable membrane, and we have poured sugar solution in thistle funnel up to a particular level and kept this setup as it is like this for some time. After some time we notice the setup change into the right picture. Look at the right picture, children. The picture in your right. Look at the final level of the sugar solution. Yes, this what happens in this experiment after some time. Okay, the level of sugar solution in the thistle funnel rises up. It is because endosmosis have taken place from beaker into the thistle funnel. Why? It is because cellophane paper is a semi-permeable membrane, the water in the beaker is a hypotonic solution, and the sugar solution in the thistle funnel is a hypertonic solution. So there is a concentration gradient develops between the thistle funnel and the beaker. This concentration gradient allows osmosis from beaker, water movement from beaker into the thistle funnel, and thus the sugar solution level in thistle funnel rises up and we get this final level. So this is proving osmosis. You can compare beaker as a soil and water in the beaker as a soil water, cellophane paper as a cell membrane in the root hair cell, and thistle funnel as a root hair, and sugar solution in the thistle funnel as the cell sap in the root hair. Next we conduct the same experiment by whisking bag. In your book you have taken plain water in the beaker, but in this experiment I have taken weak sugar solution in the beaker and strong sugar solution in the whisking bag. So the same thing happens. What? Whisking bag is also a semi-permeable bag, okay, a semi-permeable membrane. So here also the same thing happens. You look at the sugar whisking bag at initially it was like this, little cramp like this, but after some time we see the whisking bag become turgid. It swells up because water entered from beaker into the whisking bag, because beaker was having weak sugar solution and whisking bag was having strong sugar solution. It means what? There was a concentration difference between the water in beaker and water in, or you can say solution. There is a concentration gradient between the solution in beaker and the solution present inside the whisking bag. This concentration difference allows osmosis of water into the whisking bag. So here also you can see the experiment osmosis by whisking bag. Now how long the osmosis occur? Any idea? Do you think osmosis will occur until both the solution becomes equilibrium. No, it is not like that. See here, it is not like that. Osmosis stops when the osmotic pressure increases. What is it? What is osmotic pressure? Osmotic pressure is the minimum pressure that is applied to a solution to stop the flow of solvent molecules through a semi-permeable membrane. What is happening, you see, due to concentration difference between the water in the beaker and solution in the Thissell funnel, there is a continuous endosmosis. Now we have taken 2 beaker and 2 Thissell funnel with the same setup. In the beaker we have kept water and in the Thissell funnel we have kept sugar solution, and we kept it like this. One extra thing we have added in one of the beaker, that is a pressure. We have added one piston, a pressure on the solution, on the sugar solution present in Thissell funnel. What we notice that after some time there is a rise in the level of sugar solution in Thissell funnel in one of the beaker which is not having the piston, but the another beaker which is having the piston, there shows no rise in the level of sugar solution in the Thissell funnel. Why? In the picture you can see when endosmosis is taking place in Thissell funnel, due to concentration gradient, level of water rise in Thissell funnel means height and also weight increases, right? Also weight increases. Clear? But when we are putting pressure on it, pressure means the weight is increasing. When we are increasing the weight in the Thissell funnel, then this weight, such an increase in weight, put pressure in solution and reduces further osmosis. Okay, so same thing happens when further osmosis takes place and the level of sugar solution rises high and high, and the sugar solution in Thissell funnel rises in height as well as in weight, and this rise in weight of the sugar solution in Thissell funnel put pressure in solution and reduces further osmosis. Naturally, a stage comes when osmosis ceases completely, even if the concentration of the two molecules is not the same in beaker as well as in Thissell funnel. Now in the picture you can see a turgid plant cell, right? You know what is called turgid. Turgid is a condition when the cell is full of water. The vacuole of the cell is full of water and it cannot hold any more water in it. On your left you can see a turgid plant cell which cannot hold any more water in it. So when cell is turgid, the cell is in a somewhat balanced state. When cell is turgid, we say the cell is somewhat in a balanced state. It means no more water is entering or coming, leaving out the cell, means there is no endosmosis as well as exosmosis. It is because the turgor pressure and wall pressure, they balance, counterbalance each other. Now what is turgor pressure and what is wall pressure? Turgor pressure means the pressure of the cell contents on the cell wall is called turgor pressure. The pressure which is given by the cell content on the cell wall is called turgor pressure. Contrary, what happens, the cell wall also gives pressure or also exert pressure on the cell content. That is called cell wall pressure or simply wall pressure. So the cell is in, when the cell is in turgid state, the turgor pressure and wall pressure, they counterbalance each other. Okay, there is no osmosis takes place in this case. But if at any time the cell wall is unable to bear any more turgor pressure, because sometimes it happens we see the cell burst. Okay, why? Suppose the turgor pressure increases more and more and the cell wall is unable to bear any more turgor pressure. In such case we see the cell ruptures and burst out. Okay, next we come to uses of turgidity. Very interesting uses of turgidity. I told you in the last session that turgidity provides rigidity or mechanical stiffness to soft tissues of the plants. Look at the picture. When the cell of a plant is turgid, okay, they are tight and giving mechanical stiffness to the plant organ, and thus they look like that on the left. As you see, the plants look like that. When the vacuole is full of water and the cell is turgid, then it is giving stiffness to the plant organ, giving rigidity to the plant tissues, and it looks like that. But when the vacuole is empty, means the cell is flaccid, not containing enough water in the vacuole, then what happens? They become flaccid, they look like that. Next we come to use of turgidity. Yes, turgidity also plays a very vital role in many other cases, like very special case in germination. Yes, in germination we see that seedlings are pushing through the surface, through the soil, and emerging outward, like you see in the picture. How it is doing so? Where it is getting the strength from? The strength is actually coming from turgidity of the cell of the seedling. In the picture you can see the seedling is coming out, pushing through the soil surface and coming out. It is due to turgidity of the cell of the seedling. Same thing happens with the cell of the root also. They push through the soil, hard soil, due to their turgidity of their cell. It becomes rigid, their body becomes rigid, and they can push through the soil and grow upward in case of shoot, and in case of root they grow downward. Next use of turgidity in Mimosa puerica plant, means in touch me not plant. We see this kind of activity, we see this kind of thing when we touch any Mimosa puerica plant or touch me not plant. If we touched at one leaf, the other leaf also gradually droops down, isn't it? It is because in this case what is happening, the stimulus, due to the stimulus of touch, the stimulus of touch leads to loss of turgidity. Yes, the stimulus of touch leads to loss of turgor or turgidity at the base of the leaflets as well as at the base of the petioles, which we call pulvinus in case of touch me not plant. Okay, if the leaf is touched anyhow, the wave of folding and drooping spreads from the stimulated leaf to all neighboring leaves. And why it is happening? Because due to the stimulus of touch, the leaves are losing their turgidity one after another, and especially at the base of the leaflets and at the base of the petioles. So here we see the application or use of turgidity. Next, yes, this is very important, opening and closing of stomata. Opening and closing of stomata. Turgidity also plays a very vital role in opening and closing of stomata. Before we go to opening and closing of stomata, let us first see the structure of stomata in detail. Yes, this is the structure of stomata. Stomata is having two bean-shaped cells. You can see in the picture, stomata is having two bean-shaped cells which are called guard cells. Now in between the guard cells we have a small opening, stomatal opening, which we call stoma. Now the guard cells are having nucleus as well as chloroplast. Yes, guard cells have chloroplast, so they can perform photosynthesis during the daytime. They also have vacuoles and naturally cell wall, they are a plant cell. You can see the picture of stomata open, stomata closed. Stoma is the opening gap, means opening gap in between the two guard cells. Okay. Now we will come to mechanism of stomatal opening and closing due to turgidity. When guard cells are flaccid, then we say stomata closed. Yes, see, it is closed when it is flaccid. And stomata open when guard cells are turgid. The opening and closing of stomata depends upon the turgidity and flaccidity state of guard cells. What happens, see, guard cells contain chloroplast, we all know. So during daytime, guard cells photosynthesize. As a result, what happened? Concentration we all know the product of photosynthesis is glucose. So during daytime, when guard cells photosynthesize, concentration of carbohydrate rises in guard cells. Okay, and thus the guard cells becomes hypertonic in compared to the adjacent cells. Okay, so as a result of this leads to osmotic uptake of water by the guard cells from their adjacent cells, and thus the guard cells swells up. It swells up. Now the wall of the guard cells towards the stomatal opening is thick and rigid, means the inner wall of the guard cell is thick and rigid, whereas the outer convex wall is thin and quite flexible. So what happens during the daytime when osmosis takes place due to photosynthesis and concentration of carbohydrate rises in guard cells, there is osmotic uptake of water by the guard cells, so it swells up. Inflow of water in the guard cell takes place. Okay, and this inflow of water in the guard cells cause them to bulge outwards, because the wall of the guard cells, the inner wall of the guard cell is thick and rigid, whereas the outer convex wall is thin. So when they become turgid, they bulge like this, they bend like this. The outer wall swells up, but the inner wall bend back like that, and thus the stomata get open due to turgidity, and we get the open stoma. Now during the night time, or when there is no sunlight, what happens? The photosynthesis stops, and what happens? The concentration of glucose also comes down, carbohydrate, and the guard cells become flaccid. As the guard cells become flaccid, they loses their turgidity, and they again move back to their closing position. They move back to the original position, and thus the stomata get closed. This is how the turgidity playing role in opening and closing of stomata. Now let us discuss some experiment. Here you can see one experiment. We have taken two test tube. Water is there. On the top of the water we have layer of oil, and in one of the test tube we have taken a small seedling. Now if you keep this test tube under sun for some time, what you will notice? You will notice that in the test tube Y there will be reduction in the level of water. Okay, there will be reduction in the level of water, because why? There is a seedling which will absorb water from the test tube, and the water will get transpired through the leaves. Whereas in test tube X there is no water, and the oil is present on the surface of the water, which is actually preventing surface evaporation. Yes, the oil is given there on the top of the water to prevent surface evaporation. Okay, means evaporation of water from the surface. So there will be no reduction in the level of water in case of test tube X. Next we come to another experiment which shows that water is conducted upward through xylem. See here in this picture what happened. We have taken a plant in which we have girdled out the xylem tissue and kept the phloem tissue and kept it like this for some time, and we put the stem, the cut portion of the plant in water for some time. But we see even after keeping the twig or keeping the cut portion in water, the leaves wilt. Wilt means the drooping down of leaves. Okay, the leaves wilt. Why? We have kept the cut portion in water. Even after that the leaves wilt. It is because we have cut out the xylem portion. Look at there carefully. We have girdled out the xylem portion from there. So naturally there will be no conduction of water from down part to the leaves, because there is no xylem. Their present xylem has been taken out. Okay, this will make the leaf to wilt. Why? Because without water, with no water, the cell in the leaves will become flaccid. They will lose their turgidity. They will become flaccid due to no water, as we have taken out the xylem, and the leaves will wilt, and ultimately the leaves will die due to no water. In the next experiment we see we have girdled out the phloem portion and kept the xylem. So in this case we see the plant is keeping intact in both the case. The leaves are all okay before as well as after some time in the experiment. What we have taken out? We have taken out the phloem tissue. We have getted out the phloem tissue and we kept the xylem tissue. But there is no difference we can see in the picture. But it is not like that. After some time the plant will automatically die. Why? We will come to that. But one difference you can see in the picture, in the right, on your right you see there is a swollen tissue. You can see a swollen portion at the top. Why that swollen? Why that part above the cut portion is swollen? It is swollen due to accumulation of food. Yes, the food that is being prepared in the leaves cannot get conducted or transported downward because the phloem tissue has been taken out. There is no phloem tissue. So the food that is being prepared in the leaves traveled up to that, conducted up to that, and from there it cannot conduct anymore to the roots, and thus it get accumulate there. That gave that swollen matter to that. So this swollen is actually due to accumulation of food there. Now what will happen to the plant ultimately in future? The plant will survive like this? No, the plant will ultimately die. It is because root will not survive. How long the root will survive without food? Okay, when the stored food will be over, the root will die, and if roots die, then naturally the plant will die. Now we come to forces contributing to ascent of sap. There are many forces contributing to ascent of sap, like transpirational pull, then cohesion, adhesion, then capillarity, then root pressure. These all forces are acting together and helping in ascent of sap. Now what is ascent of sap? Ascent of sap is the upward movement of water and dissolved minerals through xylem tissue. This simple thing is called ascent of sap. Here you see how the transpiration pull is functioning for ascent of sap. Due to transpiration, what is happening? The plant is losing water from the aerial parts, okay, and a void of water is developing there in the aerial parts. The first molecule, we all know the water molecules have cohesion property. It means cohesion property means what? Means the tendency of water molecules to remain joined, okay. So the first water molecule pull the next water molecule, then the next water molecule pull the next water molecule, like that. So when one water molecule is getting lost from the leaf or from any aerial parts of the plant, that water molecule is pulling the next water molecule, and the next water molecule is again pulling the next water molecule. This is how it is helping. Due to this cohesion property, it is helping the water to move through the xylem tissue. So next, this transpiration pull is also acting as a suction force. We discussed already in the last class. Transpiration pull also creates a pulling force of the water molecules. So it is also contributing in absorption of water by the root hairs from the soil. In the picture we can see, right? Next, here you see adhesion. Yes, adhesion is another property. This adhesion property also causes the water molecules to remain stick to the surface of the xylem cells, and thus it draws more water molecules from below when the leaf cells lose water molecules during transpiration. So this is how all the forces are working for ascent of sap. Cohesion, adhesion. The word adhesion only talking that adhesion comes from the word adhesive, right? So it means it is a sticking property. It causes the water to remain stick to the surface of the cells, and thus helps to draw more water molecules when leaf is losing water by transpiration. Next, root pressure. We all know root pressure is the another pressure that is developing in the root due to continuous inward flow of water in the root cells by cell to cell osmosis, and it creates a pressure called root pressure. This root pressure is also contributing in ascent of sap. Now here we finish the chapter. Read the chapter thoroughly. Thank you.